Now, the Tree Crop Development Authority, TCDA, says it will further deepen engagement with the World Bank, Development Bank Ghana, and other strategic partners following government's announcement of a $500 million oil palm development financing window in the 2026 budget. According to the authority, the move is aimed at ensuring that the facility is deployed efficiently to support smallholder farmers, commercial producers, and processors across the value chain.
The 2026 budget set aside a landmark $500 million financing window to transform Ghana's oil palm industry, and the Tree Crop Development Authority says the facility will be deployed in a structured and accountable way.
I must say that the oil palm policy is the game changer, and we have been part as Tree Crop Development Authority, TCDA, we have been part, the one that the finance minister decided to focus on oil palm. So he actually put us on the technical committee that was putting that comprehensive policy together. And in the books of Ghana, if we are looking for any institution that is responsible for regulating and developing the oil palm industry, then that is Tree Crop Development Authority. So the minister rightfully put it squarely that we will be responsible for leading, regulating, and developing the policy. Yes, and for that matter, we have in our policy that the 500 million window that the minister mentioned, we are already in touch with the financial institution and largely the World Bank Group, as I'm speaking now with you, because of the interest that has been generated. The World Bank Group here in Ghana is undertaking a scoping mission to the oil palm processing regions and companies, and they are trying to go with their team to look at what is being done in the oil palm segment, and also looking at the smallholder processing, women processing, all geared towards as a result of what the government of Ghana is looking at, the commercializing the oil palm. And in fact, that's the main focus of Tree Crop Development Authority. So together with the World Bank, we are working how best they can come in and finance. Remember, we already have an existing project with the World Bank, and we call it the Tree Crop Diversification Project, where $100 million project is going on, covering cashew, coconut, and then rubber. So they want to see how best this national program to under the oil palm they take advantage. So Tree Crop is working closely with the World Bank. Before the announcement of the budget, we had a session. They have to look at our national policy on oil palm. They look at this. Out of TCDA, we want to create that over 200,000 jobs from the 100,000 hectares that we are looking at. And that's exactly what the Minister of Finance stated, that government by 2032 want to plant 100,000 hectares, and out of that create direct jobs of about 200,000 jobs, which is the main focus for TCDA. And we are working hand in hand with that. And I'm sure after the scoping mission by the World Bank, together with Tree Crop Development Authority, which we are undertaking this week, by tomorrow, the team of the World Bank and TCDA is going to both Western and Central region to visit the Bemso oil palm and then the Chifu oil palm plantations to look at the processing, and also look at some smallholder women processors and see how best they can support this agenda of government under Tree Crop Development Authority oil palm program.
A major concern for farmers has been whether smallholder farmers would truly benefit from the initiative. The authority insists they are developing simplified credit assessment.
We rightly stated the main focus is to have a sustainable jobs for Ghanaians, especially for the youth and women. And TCDA, per our own program and the policy, is done locally. The livelihood, the communities where the plantation will be established deeply will be employing the local people themselves, the community and themselves. TCDA intend training them, setting up other training facilities, resource centers that will train local people with all the various skills up to the higher skills. So that is the point of TCDA. These are all in the national policy, where we make sure that the community, the livelihood of the community people get the work to do. And then if any other, we are not bringing any other person from anywhere, but the people in the various communities, the regions where the projects will be, are the ones we are going to train and then get them recruited on board. The examples are there, the ones they are going to see. We are not going to reinvent any wheel. If you go to Ben's oil palm right now or Chifu oil palm right now, you see the concept. The very same community people are the ones planting, doing the plantations, and then they are the very people cutting all these things to them, and they are the ones recruited. Their children are the ones being trained to go to school and become oil palm specialists here and there. So that is the work of TCDA. We will ensure that where it's being done is where the people get the jobs, and we will continue to facilitate that.
The program, which includes a 5-year moratorium on both principal and interest, designed to allow plantations to mature before repayment begin.
I think the minister stated that we do agree that in the oil palm industry, it requires time, and we need a bit of time. That when you assess any facility, you need a bit of time before you start getting the benefits. So because of that, we'll make sure that the people who get access are not to pay. They have time of getting access to very soft loans, getting incentives that will let them continue to do this. The minister has stated clearly in his policy that, yes, we will not rush with over 5 years before certain things are done. So TCDA will ensure is that, and that's where anywhere we are advocating or we are looking for investors and funds, we are looking for people who can really come in and give moratorium to people who find themselves in this oil palm plantation development program, and that they can access funds and have time for repayment until they see the benefits coming from the project. We will learn from our current project we are running that all beneficiaries will be registered, and then we know farms mapped, and we can locate you wherever you are using our modern systems. So we have to make sure that if we give you seedlings, or if we give you this, your project land, this is where you are, it's mapped, and anywhere the minister himself can access from his office. And then if you are given any facility, we monitor. In fact, when we give you seedlings right now, from day one we give you up to the 1 year, 2 years, there's a system to monitor all this until you see the final product. So these are the systems, and these are technology. In fact, this initiative is coming on the back of smart agriculture, where we make use of technology very well. That is not like business as usual. We really have to use technology to map up all these things, and we have example right now in some of the commodities we are handling now, and that's why we're going to ensure that things are done effectively and in line with the policy.
With the financing expected to cover up to 70% of project costs, the Tree Crop Development Authority says only credible projects will be supported.
2022, TCDA 32, TCDA through the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the Government of Ghana have added over 100,000 hectares of oil, new plantations to that. So that alone is enough for everybody to see. And two, productivity will increase per. So now if we are looking about 8 tons per hectare per acreage of oil palm, by that process and by that document, we are looking at about 22 tons per hectare in terms of productivity. These will increase. And then in terms of, if we go for this $500 million project, and it will be by 2022, if we start seeing the fruits of this value, that amount of forest that will have generated, because this oil will be converted, processed to vegetable oil, and all the export them, the amount of forest that will come in, I can assure you that that is a game changer. It will multiples of this 500 million US dollars that we are talking about. And the direct jobs is what we mentioned, but the indirect jobs by 2022, we believe that the women and young people who find themselves in this oil palm industry will be amazing. And I believe that Ghana, we've learned, I just recently returned from Indonesia, and if you see how they are leveraged on palm oil, if you go to Malaysia and you see how they've leveraged on palm oil, that is where we want. We don't want to reinvent any wheel. The system is there, and I believe by 2032, Ghana, through TCDA, will ensure that and will now see that we have added a huge chunks of economic impact to our country. Clearly, in this area, the minister stated, which is also part of the integrated national policy on oil palm, that we are to work closely with the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, where we expect to have lands, degraded lands, galamsey lands, be ceded to the authority and to beneficiaries to be able to replant them using this policy. So that's what one area we intend that the minister or the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources will help us to get lands, and more importantly, enshrine in the policy the minister also is talking about. We are looking at working closely with traditional authorities. The land belongs to them. So you're going to get lands for traditional authorities, and then we'll be able to get lands. And that's exactly, in fact, the World Bank, the pre-meeting we had before the budget meeting was really interested about the land that we are going to use for the expansion. The World Bank was particular about the land, all because we want to make sure that these lands are not in the forest, it's not in the forest reserves, not in areas that will really affect the EUDR issues. So we are particular about that. So the lands will be done together with traditional authorities, where we get safe and suitable lands for the plantation. To the ministry will give us lands that we think that these lands need to be restored, and we'll use that. Lastly, we also advocate for individuals who have lands also to bring in for us to use. That is one thing. And last but not the least is the already existing plantations, oil palm plantations. We are going to increase the productivity. That is one key thing that already we have larger areas that we have oil palm plantation on them already. What other agronomic practice, modern ones, can we add? The fertilizers, I indicate once again, Indonesia, we are coming. There are certain kind of fertilizers that you can apply that can give you good yields. There are certain kinds of agronomic practices that you can do that give you massive yield. There are certain kind of varieties that you can plant that can give. So these are areas that this new initiative is going to look at, and Tree Crop Development Authority is mandated to do that. And as the minister indicated, we, in terms of the research and getting these done properly, we are going to work closely with an Oil Palm Research Institute, which is also the research angle when it comes to oil palm, and we are going to work with them closely to get the policy implemented.
The Tree Crop Development Authority says the financing intervention marks a new phase of coordinated investment in the tree crop sector, one it hopes will boost productivity and improve rural livelihoods.